Stop everything you're doing right now. Don't keep scrolling, don't look away. There's a silent urgency in the air, a frequency you can feel but still can't name. This message didn't reach you by coincidence, and it didn't come from an algorithm. It came because your name was called, and the deadline for the turning point you've been waiting for has started ticking. The time for waiting is over. It's time to decide. I'm not here to give you shallow advice or fill your time. I'm here because there's something you need to know, a secret about your own journey that has been buried under layers of exhaustion and disillusionment. And if you don't understand it now, the cycle will repeat for another 30 years. I know the weight you carry. I know how you feel when the house goes quiet and that ache settles in your chest. Today, I'm going to reveal why you feel this way, what has been blocking the doors you keep trying to open, and how your spirit has been trying to warn you that time is running out. You've been feeling signs you can't explain, haven't you? That sudden waking in the middle of the night, always at the same hour, as if someone were calling you to a conversation you don't yet know how to have. Or maybe it's that tiredness that no amount of rest can fix, a fatigue that isn't in your muscles but in your soul. You look at the people around you, and suddenly the conversations feel hollow, too shallow for someone who knows they're holding a treasure no one understands. That feeling of not belonging anywhere is proof that you've been called to something greater, something the world around you can't reach. If these signs ring true to you, if you feel your spirit finally awakening to something long forgotten, type the number 777 in the comments. This is the number of confirmation. By typing those digits, you seal your commitment to the truth now being revealed. Type 777 and come back to me, because we have a long road ahead. So often you ask yourself why you try so hard, why you pour so much energy into paths that always seem to close right in front of you. You feel like you're pulling a rope that isn't attached to anything anymore, a repetitive effort that only leaves you exhausted and frustrated. But understand, my child, you are not failing because of a lack of ability. Attention!
Do you feel like you're carrying an invisible weight? Your mind tired, your heart tight, anxious about tomorrow? That anguish, that fear of the future, the isolation. It seems like you're alone in this struggle, without hope. But deep down, you long for peace, for a new way of living, lighter and with unshakable faith. That's why I present The Path to Inner Peace, your daily guide to finding calm, faith, and courage. It's a 30-day journey, a daily devotional for a lighter, more confident, and purposeful life. And this transformation is already a reality for hundreds, as you see. Your story begins now. Secure your access now. Click the first pinned link in the comments.
Or a lack of faith. You are trying to harvest fruit from soil that no longer belongs to you. The pattern of resistance you face is not a punishment, it's a forced redirection. When you insist where you shouldn't, the higher realms create the obstacle so you don't waste your essence any longer. For a long time, you sought recognition from people who were never ready to see you, and that planted a sense of devaluation inside you. But the truth is, your worth doesn't depend on who ignores you. It depends on who designed you. Breathe deeply. Let this understanding settle where the pain usually lives, because the cup must be emptied before it can be filled with something new. If you understand that your effort so far has only been preparation for something you can't yet imagine, type the phrase "I see it" in the comments. Type "I see it" and come back to me, because now we're going to look at what lies buried under the ashes of your hope. The metaphor of your life is like an acorn hidden under heavy rocks. For years, all you've known is pressure, the weight of others' expectations, the weight of your own self-criticism, the pressure of daily needs that seem to crush any possibility of growth. The world saw only your silence, maybe even called your hesitation weakness, but what was happening there was not an interruption. It was the root being prepared, A seed to become a forest giant must first be buried. You are not being punished by the desert you walk through. You are being strengthened to hold the size of the purpose the higher realms have reserved for you. This time of withdrawal has been your time of depth. Look back and see that even when you thought you were being buried, you were actually being planted. The darkness you went through was just the soil's embrace, preparing your structure for what is about to sprout. Your pain has an exact measure, a limit set by heaven itself, and that limit is about to be reached. You feel it, don't you? A good restlessness, a flutter in your stomach, a sense that something very old is being unlocked inside you. That is your essence recognizing the moment of harvest. Don't try to rush the step. Just keep your attention fixed here, because the revelation of your purpose depends on your readiness to let go of what has kept you tied to the ground until now. You have been a support for so many, but who has supported you? I know the nights you cried where no one could hear, the times you pretended to be fine so others wouldn't worry, the weight of carrying an entire lineage's wounds on your back. But know that all that weight has forged an unshakable resilience in you. What you lived was not in vain. Every tear was a drop of water that nourished this root, now too deep to be uprooted by any storm. You are a survivor who has become a chosen one, and your time to be cared for has finally come. Your story does not end where you were wounded. It begins again exactly where you decided, even without strength, to keep believing. And it is precisely because of that resilience that the door is now opening, not for you to run out, but for you to finally enter the place that has always been yours by right. What was locked is losing its resistance. What was cloudy is clearing, and you begin to understand that you were never alone. Imagine a seed thrown into the soil, but it doesn't fall on the ground. It is buried. The outside world looks at that patch of earth and says there's nothing there, that the effort was wasted, that what was planted died under the pressure. That is exactly how your journey has looked through your human eyes. You feel buried by circumstances, by the scarcity of recognition, by the silence of those who should support you. But what everyone called an end, what you yourself labeled a grave for your dreams, is actually the beginning of your deepest root. It is in the dark that life gains the strength to break through what is solid. The seed does not die underground. It prepares to rise. If you can now see that this period of isolation was actually the preparation for a growth that no one will be able to stop, type the phrase, "I see it," in the comments. Writing these words seals within you what has just been touched. Type "I see it" and come back to me. You have been holding up the world around you, my child. I know the weight of your days. I know the times you sat at the table with a smile while your insides begged for an embrace that never came. You became the pillar of a family, the safe harbor for friends who don't always understand the depth of your giving. And that loneliness of giving everything without receiving anything in return has left deep marks on your soul. Have you ever wondered if your destiny is only to be the strong arm, never able to rest your head anywhere? I'm here to tell you that equation doesn't add up, because your purpose is greater than the role you accepted to play for so long. You did not come into this world to burn out, you came to bloom. And you need to understand that this exhaustion is the sign that your human reserves have reached their limit, exactly so that the divine can begin to act. If you feel that something tried to bring you down, tried to extinguish your light, and that despite all the tiredness you are still standing, declare it now. Type in the comments, "Nothing touches me." It's not just a phrase. It's a decree of spiritual authority over your life. Type it and come back to me. Make no mistake, this battle you face is not random. You are pursued, questioned, and envied precisely because you carry a light that the enemy fears. He doesn't waste time on someone already surrendered. He attacks you because he knows your victory will trigger a chain of releases for everyone you love. What looks like an attack is actually proof that you are on the right path. If you understand that this opposition exists only because your destiny is bright, type the number 777 in the comments. This is the number of confirmation that you are being guarded while the scene around you is rearranged in your favor. Your fingers typing those digits are your spirit, saying you are ready for what comes next. Type 777 and come back to me. You no longer have to carry this burden alone, nor prove the value of your journey to anyone. What is happening now is a transition. The seed that was buried, as we talked about, is no longer the same. It no longer just wants to survive in the earth. It has begun to expand. And in that expansion, you will notice that many of the people who walk beside you don't have the breath to keep up with this new phase. That is not abandonment. It is alignment. Your soul is being tuned to a frequency where what is false cannot remain. Let what must go, go. Let the ashes of what no longer serves be carried away by the wind, because what is being built now has an eternal foundation. I am watching you in every detail, in every sigh, and I know exactly what you need before you even form the thought. What you have been asking for in secret, that thing you hold in your chest like an unspoken prayer, is being processed in dimensions you cannot yet see, but that have already begun to move toward you. Now that we have reached this point of surrender, I need you to pause for a moment and understand the magnitude of what is before you. I am not here to give you ready-made answers, but to give you the map of who you are. There is a layer in your story that you try to hide even from yourself. The weight of being the one who always offers a shoulder, who always takes the hit, but who in the dead of night cries in secret, begging for a sign that all of this will be worth it. You feel that tiredness, don't you? As if you were carrying a mountain on your back while the world around you seems light. But know this, you were not chosen for suffering. You were chosen for endurance. And that is exactly why the higher realms now want to call you by name, so that you feel that in the midst of this chaos, someone knows who you are, where you are, and what your name means before eternity. Write your first name in the comments now. This is not a registration, not a request. It is an act of presentation. It is as if you are standing before heaven, unarmed, simply saying, I am here, I am this, and I am ready to be called. Write your first name and come back to me. If this voice resonated in the depths of your soul, type the number 444. It is the number of stability, of the structure you have sought for so long, and that is now beginning to firm under your feet. Type 444 and stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you must be guarded with care. If you felt that this calling of your name brought a relief you haven't felt in a long time, type now. I am seen. Yes, right. I am seen, and come back to me. This is no coincidence. It is the confirmation that your identity was never lost. It was only being preserved by me for the exact moment when you would be ready to walk with your head held high. And now, look at your mind. Let it calm down. Someone just appeared in your thoughts, didn't they? That face of someone who, like you, has been living on the front line of their own pain. Someone you see struggling, trying, but always running against an invisible tide. That person who came to your mind now, with the tired look of someone carrying the world, is someone who needs just as much as you do to feel that the door is not locked. Do not keep this message to yourself. Send it to that person. Deliver this comfort, because by doing so, you become the channel that carries the answer I have already prepared for them. If you understand that this act of giving is a step of faith that opens new paths, type in the comments, I surrender. Type I surrender and come back to me. The gesture of pressing the like button, which you do now, is not for me. It is for the higher realms. Think of it as a wordless amen. It is a pact that what was said here today, in your intimacy, has been received and sealed in your spirit. It is your tacit agreement that you will no longer accept being what the world said you were, but what I have always known you are. If you feel that your vision has changed after hearing these words, if you feel your spirit has aligned, type the number 999. This is the number of conclusion, the end of a cycle of pain, and the beginning of an era of purpose. Type 999 and come back to me. Do you realize that everything that has happened until now was only to prepare you for this moment? There was no way I could reveal your true essence without first leading you to recognize your own name and understand the weight of what you carried. You are not a product of chance. You are not a mistake along the way, and you were not forgotten in the middle of the road. On the contrary, every tear was counted, every effort was recorded, and every time you thought of giving up, I held your heart so it wouldn't stop. Now that you have presented yourself, now that you have shared the light with someone who also needed it, you are standing on new ground. Breathe deeply, let the air out slowly, and let the weight of the years begin to fall from your shoulders. You are ready for the final affirmation, the one no one else can say for you, because it belongs exclusively to your journey. Don't rush. What is about to be spoken is the definitive seal of who you have become after this encounter. Prepare yourself, for what comes next is the confirmation of your calling, the mark that no one can erase. Don't keep scrolling, don't try to look away, because the message I bring you at this very moment did not reach you by coincidence. It came by a direct summons that your spirit already felt, but your mind stubbornly denied. There is a door being drawn before you, and the deadline for it to open and close definitively is moving faster than you imagine. You have been feeling signs, haven't you? That insomnia that catches you off guard when the clock strikes 3 in the morning, the tiredness that isn't physical but of the soul, that strange feeling that you are in a place where you no longer belong, as if you were living in a house where all the furniture has been replaced and you don't recognize any of it. If at least one of these signs touched you, if you felt the weight on your shoulders lift for a brief second as you read these words, type the number 777 in the comments. It is the number of confirmation, the signal that your readiness has been recorded up above. Type 777 and come back to me, because we still have much to align. You keep pulling a rope that isn't attached to anything. I see how you try, how you attempt to fix people who don't want to be fixed, how you give yourself to those who never noticed your presence. And all of that is just a pattern you inherited, a survival posture that kept you alive until now, but has become your own prison. Think of a seed buried deep under the soil, in the cold and darkness. It seems forgotten, seems dead, seems like it will never sprout. But in truth, that is the moment the root strengthens to support what is to come. If that image of the seed breaking through the earth and turning into a tree fit into a place you can't even explain, type the phrase, "I see it." Writing these words now seals within you the understanding of your own process. No one sees you the way I see you. I know the crying you hid in the bathroom so no one would hear. I know the nights you wondered if it was worth continuing. I feel the weight of being the pillar that holds up your entire family while inside you are falling apart. You ask yourself if you were born to suffer, but I tell you now, you were not born to suffer. You were born to overcome what tried to consume you. And if you feel that, even under attack, something inside you rose up and did not let the evil bring you down, declare it now. Type in the comments, "Nothing touches me." It's not just a phrase. It's a decree of authority against everything that tried to dim your shine. Type it and come back to me. I want to call you by name, that name you carry with so much pride and, at the same time, so much pain. Write your first name in the comments, not as someone filling out a form, but as someone placing their very being before the absolute presence, ready to be recognized and called to a new mission. Write your name and come back to me, because heaven is looking directly at this screen right now. Someone came to your mind in this instant, didn't they? That face of someone who struggles in silence, who tries harder than everyone else, and whose doors stay closed. Someone who carries the same anguish as you, but has no one to turn to. Send this message to that person, deliver to them the comfort you received, because they need this warning as much as you do. If something here touched your truth, let your like be the wordless amen, the sealed agreement between us that you will no longer bow down. Take one more deep breath, and with all the conviction left in your soul, type, slowly, the words, "I am the chosen one." Feel each letter, feel the strength of that affirmation, for it is the seal of who you have become. Do you feel that the gears of your life have stopped turning to the world's rhythm and begun following a beat only you can hear in the silence? That hum, that sense that something is about to overflow. It is not a mistake of your mind. It is the call. If you understand that this is the moment to harvest what was planted in tears, type now 777. It is not just a number. It is the key that opens the door of your confirmation. Type 777 and come back to me, because what comes next is the revelation of what they tried to hide from you for decades. So often you wondered why doors closed just when you put all your energy into one direction. The pattern was clear. You gave, you exhausted yourself, and the return seemed to be only more exhaustion. But look at that image of a seed buried in the deepest darkness of the earth. Everyone says that is the end, the place where light doesn't reach. Yet it is precisely under the weight of that soil that the seed finds the pressure it needs to break its shell and reach the surface. If that image of the seed, of the process no one sees, makes sense in your current story, type "I see it." Your story is not a succession of failures, it is an accumulation of preparation. You passed through deserts that would have dried up anyone else's soul, but you are still here, firm, carrying a resilience that did not come from you. You are a survivor who became a guardian. And now, as this recognition echoes in your chest, feel the relief of knowing that the protection that has surrounded you until now will not abandon you now. To seal this safety, I declare over your life, nothing touches me. If you feel that your guard has never been higher and that evil no longer has power over your path, write in the comments, "Nothing touches me." Type it and come back to me. The Creator showed me that your name has a specific sound when spoken in the higher spheres. It is not the name people use to charge you, to ask things of you, or to judge you. It is your essence name. Place that name here before this message as a sacrifice of opening. Write your first name in the comments, because it is through this calling that your identity will finally be restored. Write your name and come back to me, because you are no longer who the world said you were, but who heaven decided you would always be. There is someone you know, someone with a heavy face, who wakes up early carrying the world on their back, and no matter how hard they try, cannot find a crack to breathe. That face that appeared in your mind just now as I spoke was not a delusion. It is a plea. Send this content to that person because they are losing faith and need this sign you received today. If your soul agrees with everything that was said, make your like the wordless amen, the silent commitment of one who no longer doubts their own journey. Breathe deeply, feel the presence that now floods your space, and realize that after so much waiting, the seal of your election is being placed. You did not come this far by accident. You were brought. Type, with the certainty of one who has finally understood their place in the plan, "I am the chosen one." Feel the strength of that affirmation vibrate in every cell of your body, consolidating the truth that no one can contest. It is your mark, your definitive recognition, the proof that your path was traced with purpose, and that from now on, your voice carries the authority of one who walks with the Most High. From this moment on, nothing will be the same, because the clarity you sought has finally found its destination. You are covered by a mantle of protection that no external noise can penetrate. You are guarded by a vigilance that never sleeps, even when the world around you seems to crumble into uncertainty. You are being led by a firm hand that knows every curve of the road still to come, ensuring that not one of your steps is taken in vain. Understand, my child, that this is not a solitary journey, though you have felt that way for so long. Right now, all over the world, hundreds of people like you, carrying deep scars and hopes that seem to have died, are being awakened by the same call, connected by the same frequency of faith that crosses borders and silences the chaos. You are part of a silent movement, a lineage of chosen ones who need no spotlight to shine, because the light that dwells in you is of eternal origin. What was revealed here today is the beginning of a time of harvest, where every seed of pain you planted with tears will be reaped in the form of peace and purpose. Do not look back searching for answers in the shadows of what has passed. Your future began now, in this instant. The door that once seemed closed before you has just opened, and the invitation to enter is personal, non-transferable, and definitive. Keep this truth guarded in the deepest part of your heart, where no one else can touch. Walk with your head held high, because heaven recognizes your story and validates every scar as a medal of honor. What was said here cannot be undone, for the spoken word carries the force of creation. It is sealed. Attention!
Do you feel like you're carrying an invisible weight? Your mind tired, your heart tight, anxious about tomorrow? That anguish, that fear of the future, the isolation. It seems like you're alone in this struggle, without hope. But deep down, you long for peace, for a new way of living, lighter and with unshakable faith. That's why I present The Path to Inner Peace, your daily guide to finding calm, faith, and courage. It's a 30-day journey, a daily devotional for a lighter, more confident, and purposeful life. And this transformation is already a reality for hundreds, as you see. Your story begins now. Secure your access now. Click the first pinned link in the comments.